listeners, and welcome to another week on Chasm Converses. My guest this week is Brad Rankin. He's a drummer residing in Adelaide, and he talks about being a fourth-generation musician within his family. We talk about his drumming and involvement in bands, including his band Relapse, as well as It's Not a Phase, and how a move interstate taught and reinvigorated him to keep up with drumming at a time where he thought of giving it up. Join us, and let's get conversing. Chasm Converses. Brad Rankin, thank you for joining me on Chasm Converses today.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here. First solo podcast, so I'm excited.
You've been involved in music for quite a lot of your life, mainly as a drummer and that sort of thing. And, you know, our paths have crossed quite a bit throughout the Adelaide music scene back in the day and all that sort of jazz. I'd love to ask you, how you sort of got your start in music. Like, what was the kind of the main moment that you knew that you kind of wanted to be involved in music for, like, you know, the majority of your life?
Right. So that's a really good question. So
Hell yeah.
I'm actually a fourth generation musician. So my grandmother, she was from Cardiff, and so she was a trained vocalist at the Royal College of London, I think.
Right.
And then when she moved over here, my dad was a drummer. So when I came into existence, like, my first memory is literally playing drums. So I genuinely do not know life without it. I straight up don't. I mean, I do in little parts throughout my life, but basically, like, I was going to rehearsals when I was 3. So yeah,
Jesus, that's awesome. Wow,
yeah.
Bloody hell.
So it's so part of my existence. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like, wow, because so many people, you know, they're exposed to a certain like style of music through their parents, or sometimes their parents have a lot to do with like why they get into certain things in life and that sort of thing. And so wow, it's so cool that yours literally started just from the fact that your family was just so incredibly musical. That's so brilliant, man. I love that.
Yeah. I'm quite lucky in that regard. I had my dad as a musician and my mum an artist. Like, in the background, I've actually got one of her canvases.
Yeah, wow, look at that. Brilliant.
Yeah, I might show you after this. But so there's just been creativity from day one, literally.
Jeez, literally born into creativity.
Yeah, like it's so intertwined into my existence. It's it's just
that's
wild.
So cool. And so what was like the sort of the step into kind of the more, I guess, heavier side of drumming, because you're in like a few bands yourself. You've got Relapse, obviously, the big heavy metal boys, and then you're also in you know, It's Not a Phase as well, which is kind of cool, like emo pop punk band, which is sick. So like two very like different styles of music. So like what sort of like led you into like drumming for those, kind of going more into the metal sort of side of things?
So, good question. I've had some very good chats with family as to where everything went wrong. I'm going to pin it on my dad.
Right.
Because, so when I moved to Adelaide, I had a whole bunch of CDs with me. And it started off with Soundgarden.
Right.
I had a few Soundgarden albums on me. And then there were a few other CDs. So I started off pretty light. It was, AC/DC, Back in Black, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Californication, Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction, and a few others were thrown in there. But, and then ironically, I grew up like hating anything with screaming in it. Oh, I couldn't stand it. Could not stand it. Couldn't stand it.
Fair.
And,
Look at that.
And then it's slowly coming up through primary school. Slipknot was mentioned, because at that time it was like when you're like 10 or 11, it was really edgy to like Slipknot. So I started just checking them out of curiosity.
It was. I remember
Joey Jordison.
Oh, dude, I remember being in like primary school and first hearing about Slipknot, and just like, it was such a weird concept to me that this kind of music even existed, you know? Like, and then you sort of delve into it like, wow, this is nuts. This is what everyone's listening to right now. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. But then it really kicked off in two different stages. So then I found Metallica. Then I would watch Master of Puppets live Seattle 1989. I must have watched that maybe at least 200 times. Just on repeat. But
Jeez.
it really hammered home to me that I loved heavy metal with Megadeth's Rust in Peace.
Right, okay. Cool.
The track Tornado of Souls. Oh, wow.
I haven't heard it, but I'm going to write that down because that just sounds awesome.
Yeah, Rust in Peace is my all-time favorite album. It is flawless. But then...
Awesome.
And then it kept snowballing again. Then I became a thrash head in early high school, and then I went to a CD shop down Glenelg that used to be here. And then I bought Metallica's Master of Puppets, Megadeth's Rust in Peace, Slayer's Rain and Blood, and Van Halen. Whatever album that had Panama and Hot for Teacher on it.
Oh, is that 1975?
That's the one.
Yeah. Sick.
Yeah. So that was that stage. But then the crossover into screaming came in year 8. There was one of my first friends I made in high school. This was when like scene and emo was really kicking off.
Yeah, definitely.
Bring Me the Horizons, Pray, Count Your Blessings.
Yeah.
There was my mate sitting next to me. He said, "Oh, hey, check this out," and then I think it was Pray for Plagues, and then I was listening to it. And I was going, oh my God, this screaming is horrible, but the drums are sick. And then it just slowly, ever so as I got older and older, it just crept its way in.
Yeah.
And then, before I knew it, I was buying double pedals and China cymbals and just
it all kicked off.
Trying to be Matt Nichols for ages. So yeah.
It's so strange how that sort of thing can happen. Hey, like it really can just like transition from something that's just like, you go from the lighter stuff into like the middle ground. And then before you know it, you do get exposed to the heavy stuff, and it takes some time, but it sort of does creep in. Like I remember when everyone was really hyped on Parkway Drive when like the Horizons came out and Deep Blue and stuff. Yeah. And my brother had huge on that album. Yeah. Like I got into everything heavy really late in my life. But my brother had Horizons and Deep Blue and Atlas, and all three albums in his room. Yeah, and so literally, I remember to relate to this, like everyone was just going off about this thing. So I was just like, I saw them in his room. This is back in the day we used to you used to rip CDs to Windows Media Player and you'd stick them on a big fat MP3 player. Yep. And I was reading Water Meters at the time, so I was so bored when I was walking around doing stuff. And I was like, everyone's into these Parkway Drive guys. I'm gonna just take my brother's CDs and I'm just gonna choose a bunch of songs that I like the names of, because that's how I used to do. When you used to like LimeWire and shit. You download songs or you do your things. We never had enough internet to download real full albums, so I only ever would download artists and songs of the names that I liked the look of, that I thought would be good tracks. So I had maybe for a whole day's water meter reading, I had probably about 20 tracks from 3 albums on that playlist, and I listened to the same 20 tracks all day, and by the end of it I came around to Parkway Drive.
Nice.
Because at the start I was like, oh, this sounds like a bit much for me, and then by the end I was like, actually nah, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's fucking sick. Yeah,
it molds into it.
Parkway albums are just phenomenal.
Oh, dead set. But that's really great, the way that you was able to mold yourself into kind of the screaming and the metal and that sort of thing. And obviously you've been learning drums since you were obviously so young, and so at the point that you are now, you're so advanced in the fact that you can play so many different styles and so many different genres. So it must be an absolute treat for you sometimes when you do your drum practice, and you can go between your metal sort of your double kicks and your snares and that sort of thing, and then you can go into your pop punk stuff with the different sort of styles in between. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I've been able to be in so many different musical spaces throughout life. My first ever band, proper band in Adelaide, was called Heckle. And
Right.
I joined that band at 16, and I think those guys were like in their early 30s when I
Wow,
joined.
really?
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
But what was really cool is that they were not only like playing things that were like progressive and heavy, they were also genre switching in the middle of songs. So like we'd be in like funk metal, and then there'd be a breakdown, and then we'd go country, and then we'd go metal again.
Jeez.
So like that band like really got my chops up so quick. I used to like come out of practices with those guys with like I'd be having a headache with all the connections in my brain just being blown apart. Like it was awesome. So I'm really thankful for those guys for really like getting me like they really helped me get good at what I do.
Wow. Were you in like a lot of bands before you got to sort of like where you are now with Relapse and with This Not a Phase?
So I was in a couple. I'll start with technically it was in high school with Brighton's big bands, like the state level big bands that they do for Generations Jazz.
Yeah.
I'd also like to use this opportunity to apologize to the whole cohort of Brad Secondary School's jazz program, because I gave everyone their hell. Yeah.
I wonder if they'll accept it.
Yeah. I really squandered that opportunity. So, but it did open me up to playing jazz. So I did get to play in front of a whole bunch of people with a massive horn section and all that stuff. So nowadays I can really look back and go, wow, that was actually really cool, and I'm really thankful for that. Then there was Heckle for ages, and then I was in Our Conquest for a little while.
Right. Okay.
I was only in that band for like 2 months.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you have those stints.
But then the next one, which is where you come into the picture. So then I was in Ventolin.
Yes, that's right.
That's around the time I met you.
Yeah,
So,
it was. Yeah, it was. That's right. I remember Ventolin. That was like, you guys had some fucking cool songs, actually. Yeah. I remember Ventolin.
Yeah,
that was cool.
yeah, it was a good time. There was this just before I moved over and I left that band. There was that one Cranker show. We did. It was an EP launch / farewell show.
Yeah.
For me.
Shit, yeah, it was a while ago, wasn't it?
And that was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
6-7 years ago. Crazy.
Good Lord, yeah.
Then I tried to actually quit.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
Holy boy, no way.
Yeah.
Shit.
I'm very, I'm paradoxically thankful for that time I tried to give it up. So, like, I moved over to Melbourne for a year. I'm originally from Melbourne.
Yeah.
So I moved back and I was trying to just, looking back now, I can see I was like trying to be someone I just wasn't. I was obsessed with Calvin Harris at the time, and I was like, oh my God, he was playing all these instruments by himself. I can do that. And so I was trying to be this like Calvin Harris producer guy and like not a drummer. I'm like, oh, the drums is in the past.
This like musician entrepreneur. Yeah.
That was old me in Adelaide. Like, yeah. But it was really cool in a way that I had that time away from it. I actually nearly sold my kit.
Ooh, wow, really? Shit.
I was literally about $200 away from giving it all up. Giving it all up. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Jeez.
But then it was so refreshing in the end after it was like 14 months. It was 16, 18 from that EP launch to starting Relapse. It was a long time. And were you at Unify Gathering 2018?
Yes. Oh my God. That was
I think I saw you there. I was I was working the bars.
You were. That's right. Yeah. Yes. Wow. God, that was man, that would have been busy.
Yeah. Oh, it was. It was hectic, but awesome.
That's right.
It's
I
just
remember
just being around heavy metal again and seeing all these bands and all these pits, and then like seeing Josh McCauley, just seeing it was just all these friends. It was just all that community coming together. I remember like looking at the stage like right before I left. I was like, all right, no, I am a drummer. I'm meant to be in the heavy metal space. This is what I'm meant to do.
Awesome.
And then from there, I was still in Melbourne. I came back here for a week because I ran out of money and I couldn't pay my rent. My lease renewal was coming up, and so I was like, oh shit, I've got
that decision to make.
Yeah, and so I took a bus back, and I was just like tossing it up with friends. I was like, oh, do I come back here or do I try and just like hash it out in the bars in Melbourne, see if I can keep going? And then I get a message from our guitarist Jacob, going, oh hey man, I got these tracks. You want to come check them out? And went over to his place and just tapped away on this electric kit he had, and I was like, well, that decision's been made.
Yeah, we go. Straight into it.
And
Relapse is born.
The rest is history. So
that's so awesome, man.
That's me in a nutshell. Sorry, everyone.
It's so great how that sort of stuff can happen, though, man. Like, you know, sometimes you do got to, like, you know, you go away from where you've been for a lot of your life into a new world, and just, you know, you have a look around, see what's there, try some different things, and then you know, after a while you do kind of find out what you kind of want to do, and what you're really, really good at, and what you're kind of, I suppose, meant to do. I mean, for me personally, I'm still in that space up here, like in London. Like, this is my first time away from like Adelaide for a long period of time, and it's something that I needed to do. And so even for myself right now, I'm also kind of growing and trying to put my hands in different jars and see what I actually want to do that's going to sort of, you know, carry me along in the long term.
You'll really thank yourself. You'll absolutely thank yourself for what you've done, and kudos to you. Like, it's a big move.
It's a big transition for sure, but like, even so, man, it's so, and even like the fact that, you know, at any given time, you know, a friend of yours or a musician or whatever can just hit you up and be like, hey, I have these songs, you know, do you want to like just jam along and see what happens to them? And just from that little interaction, you birth a band that, you know, now has just, you know, released a ton of music, and you guys have just been touring and playing with so many like awesome bands that have come through, like the Australian circuit and that sort of thing as well. And all that literally grew from, like, you know, just the interaction of, hey, let's just jam these songs and see what happens with it all.
Yeah, from little things, big things grow. They were not kidding. not that
1,000%,
yeah. But like, it like everything had to happen like exactly as it did for this to happen. So I'm immensely thankful that I get to say I'm in a band with my best friends. Like, it's just awesome. It's seriously so awesome,
cool, man. Because you've played with some fucking cool bands, man. You've been on some really cool bills. Like, you know, I mean, I'll list off names because I did write them down. You know, like Thornhill, Nicolas Cage Fighter, who you're repping with the beanie, which is dope. You know,
shout out to Nicolas Cage Fighter.
Yeah, Diamond Construct, Mirrors. That's awesome. That would be so amazing just to be on the same bill as like bands like that and join in, like, you know, making their shows as big as you could make them.
Yeah, it is really, really cool. And for some, it's actually really cool to see like a band like Thornhill, like getting to open a simple Enigma bar show for them, like when they just dropped the Dark Pool.
Yeah.
And then now they're just absolutely cleaning house. So
blowing up.
Yeah. We got to do the Chelsea Green Born of Osiris co-headliner from a while back.
That would have been something else.
Yeah. Chelsea Green do not fuck around. They are wild live.
Yeah.
Those bass drops were just like ruining the venue. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Goodness.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy, man.
Getting to tour a few times last year, and like what's especially cool about it is that we've managed to cover like different areas of the whole metal space We did get to do it last year. So yeah, the first tour was like Deathcore City, basically.
Right.
That was Inhibitor and Cerament. And then second tour, which was a bit more on the metallic hardcore side. So that was with Nicolas Cage Fighter and Shokan. And then the last one was a bit more on the like pop side of metalcore. And then you had Rumors and Days Like These. So yeah, it's been this really like broad spanning selection of tours we've managed to do.
Yeah.
So
and genres that you can fit yourself into, which is kind of cool too. Like you guys can just sort of fit into such a little, like a vast array of genres of metal, which is awesome because it just gives you so many opportunities to play with different bands.
Yeah, exactly. And we're still trying to figure out what the hell we are too.
It's all part of the growth process, eh?
Yeah, like we've been on like some, like it just appeared on like media outlets and stuff like that. And it's really interesting like seeing all these different journalists try and figure it out, and everyone has had a different answer. It's really it's really cool.
That's sick.
Yeah, it kind of tells me that like, all right, we must be doing something right. But it really came to me a couple of months back. It's kind of like we're not. Oh, I think anyway that Relapse is more of the result of us getting together and making music rather than us getting together to write a genre. It's kind of like a grab bag, and I think that's really, really powerful. And we've managed to find a not a formula, but like we know, like we've done this like a while now between us four, that like we know what sounds good and we'd love to keep doing it.
You've got your own process and like having to work it and all that sort of thing. That's great. Because after a while, especially when you work with like people for quite a while, you kind of you do sort of click in to one another and your strengths and your weaknesses, and you can find a way to sort of write great songs and find that process of how to do it in the most efficient way, which is awesome. And that also works in with like when you play shows live or when you go on tours and stuff like that too. Actually, I was just gonna say, because you guys played at the Cranker recently, didn't you?
Yes.
With I think it was Haraway, Catalyst, Lumens, and the boys, Endless Grey.
Yeah.
How was that? They look fucking crazy.
Yeah, that was wild on so many proportions. So for one, we were only on it because unfortunately 2319 split up. So
I did see that.
So so we took it on like 2-3 weeks notice. Secondly, there were so many tech issues for at least half that show. Like Lumens didn't even get to do their set, which is so shit.
Really? That sucks, man.
It was the sound for that one was like, for half the lineup was just way below Cranker's standards.
Damn, man, they're a great bunch of guys, Lumens as well.
But then and then our sound guy Pato saved the day on that one. But and thirdly, just like where at least for this year, like after all the touring and all that, we're not going as hard this year, and then to just roll in to something like that and then just have all that chaos just like in the response while we're playing 3 new songs that almost no one has heard, and then they're just going bananas. We're just like, what? Just like, this is insane. But no, shout out to Haraway as well, because they sold that whole tour out, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
I think. So shout out to those guys.
Holy shit, that sounds
huge
incredible.
Effort.
Yeah, I mean, I love myself a Cranker show. I definitely miss the Cranker shows being over here and the Cranker appearances. It's weird. I actually didn't think that I'd miss the taste of Cooper's Dark Ale, but I actually do miss the taste of a good old Cooper's Dark Ale over here. Man,
dude. There's just that at Cranker hits different. I mean, we were talking about history before. September makes 10 years I've been playing that venue.
Wow,
God.
yeah, shit.
Getting up there.
I would have been quite close with Paper Sunsets, actually, or Oceans, because we were 9.5 years. We almost got to 10 before we split up. But then going in with Kazrin as well for the time that I was doing live shows over there too, I would be close to 10 years over there as well. I haven't even thought about that until now. Shit, that's actually insane, man.
Yeah.
Like, being around that venue is just, it's such a staple in Adelaide music for all genres. Like, for all genres, you can play any genre of music at the Cranker, which is just awesome. I love that about the Cranker.
No, that venue is just so important for Adelaide's live music ecosystem. It's just you cannot like state that enough. Like,
No.
it's just so like important for, I mean, our lives as musicians. And there's been a lot of big moments of my life there. Like,
Yeah,
huge.
1,000%. Same, man. Even if it's been like shows that we've played or bands that we've seen there, even just like, bands of friends that we've seen there, sometimes they can be some of the best gigs you'll ever see. Like, or they leave the staple. They leave the staple in the brain. It's great, man. With going back to the drumming and that sort of thing, the really great thing that you give back to the drumming community and that sort of thing as well, because you actually do teach drumming as well.
Yes, I do. I've been doing that on and off for 3 years now, and I love it that much that I actually have to catch myself going like that. It's not. It is a job, but it's so like familiar that it's not like, oh, I'm going to work today or all that stuff, which is good. But I have to catch myself and go, hey, like, you're doing this, like, gotten to really help some people through that. One of my students now, he picked up the drums at 62, 63.
Wow,
and
really?
He's doing
awesome.
really well. Absolute legend. And so
Brilliant.
like never picked up an instrument for himself in his life.
Yeah.
And to like roll in, and I get to be the person that introduces them to the world of music. I'm just like, that's cool. That's
brilliant,
really cool.
man. Especially like, I love that. I love when people just, when they want to do something, they just do it, and it doesn't matter what stage of life they're at. It's like, regardless of whatever, if they want to do it, they'll do it. And that's what's so great when like, you're the person that gets to take them through that journey and show them all that kind of stuff. And dude, that must be, it must feel so rewarding to be able to do that for people, like for young and old, wow. Awesome, man. Yeah.
It's, I find teaching just, so natural. And then to have it with the thing I'm like so involved with the most, it's just this perfect union. And I'm very thankful I get to do it at all, even to the capacity I do it.
That's awesome, man. Let's finish up with talking about It's Not a Phase, because I did a podcast with Josh before I left to come over here, obviously, and he has been taking lots of photos and videos of you guys and your shows and that sort of thing. And you guys you did Adelaide Fringe, and then you went to Melbourne, I think it was, as well, and did some shows over there. How was all of that?
Yes. So I came in on fairly short notice. So Josh hit me up. I think it was about a month out from the Fringe, and asked if I wanted to do it. And
cool.
And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like it was basically just like getting to play all your favorite songs from high school for a Fringe show. I was just like, tick, done. And I thought it was just going to be a one-off thing. And then it was a bit of a task, but I loved it. I think I had to do, it was like 31, 32 songs in 3 weeks, weeks or so.
Jesus, that's a lot.
Yeah. It kept me busy, and I'm so thankful to that crew, because they had like transcripts for me for every single song, so they made it as accommodating as possible.
That is wonderful.
Yeah. So I got all the help I could have needed, and it was wicked. And after those two shows, I was like, wow, this is a really good crew of musicians. They're great people. We're playing great music. Mm-hmm. like the show itself is awesome. So I'm just like, why not keep doing it?
Yeah.
I'd be stupid. I'd be stupid not to. And it's nice. It is nice every now and then to just be able to just like not let loose, but more just like there's not as much technical pressure.
Yeah, you can sort of freestyle a bit.
Sit on. Yeah, it's nice just to like sit on a groove for a while and just play songs just people love. Because sometimes in Relapse I do make the parts really hard for myself, and I regret it every time. But the next lot of demos I'm probably gonna do it again. Like
exactly, it's the way that you're wired.
I write things sometimes that I'll put things that I'm not good at in the songs on purpose, just so it forces me to practice and get better.
That is that's a really good way of progressing. That's great.
Yeah. The Phil in Agitated was one of them, if anyone was interested.
All right, we gotta listen to that one.
that was some really, really nerdy things I was not good at for that one. So I was like, okay, you're going to do that. And you're going to do that at the start of the song. It's going to be really fast and really hard.
Oh, dude. It's awesome. This has been absolutely awesome, man. Like, it's been so good to have you over here, like, chatting about the music stuff and all that sort of thing. You're in Adelaide right now, yeah? Which is cool.
Yes.
I'm in London. Two different sides of the world, which is awesome that we can, like, do this and have chats and that sort of thing.
You're going international now. You're an international podcaster.
I know, it's crazy. But, like, I also got a new video little Logitech cam as well, so my video is finally looking a bit more HD than my first couple of ones, which was nice as well. But even so, man, this has been an absolute blast. I really appreciate you joining me.
Yeah, no, thank you.
It's been really great.
Thank you. No, thank you for having me. This has been really, really good fun. No, cheers.
Thank you so much for tuning in to that episode with myself and Brad. If you want to check out his work, you can follow him on Instagram at Brad Rankin. There you will find links to both Relapse and It's Not a Phase, so do go and check them out. And be sure to leave a rating or review for the show if you have a moment, and follow the socials at This Is Chasm, and be sure to check back here next week for a brand new conversation with a new guest here on Chasm Converses.